All that I want, if I'm so important.
So guys, that is a little snippet of my very first song. It is called Important. It will be released very soon. So as right now we're gonna get into, I'm gonna have Dwayne ask me a few questions concerning the song that I've actually gotten from the people that I have sent the song out to. So here are some of the questions. We're gonna get into it, just kind of have a little conversation about it to kind of give you guys just some background information to kind of let you know where I was and that type of thing. So we'll go ahead and get started.
So, Bestie, talk to us about where did the song actually come from?
So the song came from, so first and foremost, I told y'all I was a little thotty bop for a little bit. And I was talking to different people and just different situations that I was experiencing just in single life, and just people, I don't know, people just lying to me, child. Everybody was just lying. Everybody was not real about, like, everybody would just kind of want to sell you a story, tell you the things that you want to hear or the things they thought that I wanted to hear. And it's like you start to pursue situations in that, and it just kind of, I guess it got so heavy at one time. And I remember having an anxiety attack, and I remember laying in my bed and I was talking to God, and I did my virtual journals. And again, I keep mentioning these virtual journals, but I'll get more into it in detail about what that is. But I had recorded my virtual journal, and at the time also I was just also in a place where I felt like, oh, like I just need to create something. I need to create something. And I knew I didn't want to take pictures. I knew I didn't want to do makeup, like all the things that I like normally do. So I was like, I feel like singing, which, Joe, you know that is abnormal for your girl, okay? She don't be singing, okay? But I felt like singing, and I had went to my room and I was spending time with God, and I recorded my virtual journal. And typically I don't listen back to them, but this particular one I listened back to it because I don't know, I just felt led to. And as I would listen to it, I started singing some of the parts that I was talking about. So I ended up sending it to my friend who's a producer, and I was just like, look, I know that you are the best person to get the job done. So I sent it to him, and we collaborated, and this is what we came up with.
So I guess who was the song about then?
I don't think it was necessarily about anybody, because the more I listened to it, because honestly, the words and things like that, like I had the clips, but the words and stuff did not develop until I was in the studio. So I was in the studio with the producer. His name is Gabe, YDMBSM. Follow your boy, because he's talented. But we was in the studio, and we were making it or whatever, and that's kind of when the words came. So it wasn't about one particular person. There was 3 people in mind that it was like, okay, these were my triggers, I guess you could say. But it was an overall synopsis of what my experiences were, but also it was a conversation that I was having with God. And once the song releases, y'all will kind of hear where I'm kind of talking about, or asking if I was enough, am I too rough, things like that. So I was talking to these people, but I was also talking to God, because I'm like, God, like, why am I not worth these things that people are saying? Like, why am I, like, what's wrong with me? So I think words. That's what I would say it was about, if it was about something.
So if people could walk away with a message from this song, once they hear it in its fullness, what would you say that message is?
I want people I want them to feel me, but I want them to walk away feeling like I don't need a person to validate or make me feel important or make me feel like I'm enough. I want you to be able to walk around and just with that knowing. Like, and at the end of the song, I kind of come back around and just remind myself, like, I am important, I am enough, all the things or whatever. So I just really want people to feel empowered by the lyrics, and being just, it's highlighting that moment, that low place, if you will, but also just, I want them to feel empowered. And I want them to, remember it's like that whole presenting yourself in broken phases. So being 25% versus 100% and what that looks like. That was my 25% moment. That was my moment. That was my low moment of, you know, the beginning of the song was my lowest moment. It was the moment where I'm just like, okay, why am I not enough? Like I'm finding problems with me instead of accepting that I am enough. I am all the things that I already need to be at this point in my life.
So would you say that was a realization that took place in like one moment, and like after that moment you were good, or would you say it is something that you still have to handle every day?
I think everybody at some point in whatever space they're in, they have those moments of doubt. They have just the outlook ago. I was just in ruins. In ruins. I could not get it together. I did not want to record, did not, there's always a moment of you just not feeling like I'm, preparing to go to Tulsa and things like that, and I'm just like, I don't have all the things that I want for myself. So yes, I have those moments still of not feeling enough, but I feel like I have less moments of that. I have less low moments. Like in this process, I think today was the lowest that I've been, where, I'm spiraling and I'm questioning and I'm doing all the things. So I think that, Chad, what was your question?
Was it something that you needed to, was it like a hard realization and after that day you were good? Or is it like a choice that you have to make every day?
It's an everyday choice. It absolutely is an everyday choice to believe that I'm important, to believe that I'm enough, to believe that I'm not too real, and I'm not too boyish, and I'm not too hard, and I'm not too anything. I am enough. I am who I am, and what I have to offer someone is valid. It's enough for them to be okay. Like somebody's literally praying for everything that I am. And I'm going to find that out in just a couple of days of who that person is. But like, just that realization, that's the thing that kind of walks with me.
So before because I know you mentioned Tulsa, so there's some things I'm sure you want to share with everybody about Tulsa, but the song is fire from what we can hear. So what would you say, like where can people find it?
So right now, you can't find it anywhere. But really soon you'll be able to find it on Apple Music, Spotify, literally every platform known. You'll be able to find it there. You'll be able to stream it there. So once that is released, I do plan to do a blast. So please stay in tune with my YouTube and my shorts, because I will just drop something there and let y'all know. There will be a video coming as well. I don't have a date for that, but I'm going to do what God tells me to do. I'm going to put the creators on there that need to be on there, all the good stuff. So can't find it anywhere just yet, but you will be finding it soon.
So you mentioned Tulsa and around, it's a trip that's coming up. It's something that you're looking forward to, but I'm sure there's more feelings than just maybe excitement. So maybe talk to us about that.
Yeah, so kind of going back to what I was saying about just being in ruins, I guess it's so easy to talk about the things that are so far ahead and they're in the future and it's whatever, but as they get closer, as things are kind of rearing its head in, I think the reality of my life, the reality of me betting on God and betting on Him out loud, and just the pressure of that, and the pressure of, just everything. Everything is just kind of, it's hitting me. So I've been feeling anxious, I've been feeling nervous, I've been feeling excited, I've been feeling just hopeful, also just, I don't know, I'm everywhere. Honestly, I'm everywhere as far as my feelings about it. So I don't know if that really explains.
So what are Tulsa's coming up, you've been preparing, you're looking forward to it, but do you have reservations about it?
Do I have reservations? What do you mean by reservations?
Like as the closer you get to, you've been talking about Tulsa, you've been sharing what the Lord has shared with you, and it's something exciting that's coming up, but is there a part of you that's like, I don't know, I'm not sure?
Yes, It absolutely is. I've been in my moments by myself. I've been like, God, like, I've said it before, like, don't have me out here living stupid. But like, and that's like the gangster part of me. But the real part of me is like, God, like, what if it don't happen? Like, are you like, what if, you know, what if I'm not enough? Even going back to the song, like, what if I haven't done enough? Like, I fasted, I've prayed, I've gotten to know myself, you know, a little deeper than I ever have. I've gotten to know God deeper than I have, but I'm like, but what if I'm not enough? Like, what do I wear? Because also something else about Tulsa, because outside of my husband and things, like a fun fact is, I haven't been to church in about 5 or 6 years. So the fact that I am excited about church, because I'm not excited, I was excited about Tulsa before God told me my husband was coming. So the fact that I've been excited is, you know, is something, but also I'm nervous about church. I'm nervous about my presentation, what, you know, if I'll be accepted, if, you know, I don't know, like, I spoke in tongues for the first time like a week ago, so like, I don't know, like, how I'm about to look, like, I'm about to just go out there and show my tail, like, I don't know what to expect when it comes to church. I don't know what to expect when it comes to being around church people. If I'm being real with you, I don't really like church people, like, love obviously, but I don't like church people for real. So like, because I just feel, I don't know, I just feel like everything is about, it's an spectator sport in a lot of sense, and I don't want to be the center of that spectating. What am I trying to say? Spectatorness is a word. It's a word.
So in looking forward at it, what are your expectations for, I mean, I know God has shared some stuff, what are your expectations for when you get out there?
I expect, so one thing, so I'll just kind of tell you the things that God is, I'm expecting God to do exactly what he said. So some of the things that I expected, and this is things that God's just having me track on what he's already said. So one, he told me my husband was there. He told me I will meet him on 10-6. He told me we will sit close. He told me that I saw him on the stage preaching. He said that what he was wearing, but he also said that he's taking me to Tulsa for more than my husband. He's going to impart something in me, but he's also going to allow me to give something too. So I am in the process of trying to figure out what that impartation is going to look like. What am I going to look like on the other side of this? What is my life after this? What, you know, like, I've also been in the place of trying to figure out like what my life looks like with living with God, because, you know, fast stop, all the things stop in real life, if you will. They come in, and I'm like, how do I maintain my balance? How do I, you know, how do I still be shaysadler in all of this? Because I don't ever want to, I don't want to be nobody's, I don't want to be in nobody's box. Who I am and who I exist in, like, I don't want to be in nobody's box. I definitely don't. So those are my expectations. My expectation is for God to do exactly what he told me he was going to do.
I think you brought up something good when you said, like, you don't want to lose you just want to be shaysadler.
Yeah.
And I think your life has been, you know, you've experienced a lot in your life. Can you talk a little bit about when you felt like you lost shape?
I felt like more recently that I lost shaysadler when I was out here dieting and bopping, because after a while, like, sex is a spiritual thing, and you give a little bit of yourself to a person each time you connect with them sexually. That's my belief. And the more times that I laid with people, the less shaysadler I was. So I started taking on the spirits of people, their actions, the different things or whatever. And like, now looking at myself now, even down to some of the videos I had of myself, because I was, again, doing these virtual journals, which allowed me to be able to make eye contact literally with a past self. And I was just like, what? Why was I doing that? Like, what was I, like, to be, it's like I was absent from my body. So it's like, I just didn't like how I was showing up. I didn't like how I was showing up in rooms. I just didn't like anything about who that person was. Now, she was dope. She was always going to be her. She was always gonna be her in her truest self, and all whatever in whatever stage that was. I always showed up as myself, which I appreciated. But I also feel like I wasn't myself at the same time. It's weird. At the time, I took on this like alter ego, if you will, and I called her Shay. I called Shay my demon. Shay was okay. But Shay is getting to know the Lord. She is learning balance. She is learning how to equal out and still be that powerful being, because she was a powerful being in different ways that were not the Lord. It was more, I don't want to say pussy popping, but pussy popping. It was. She was doing that. She was Shay, but she was an animal. She listened. But I'm learning now to incorporate her, because she's not a bad part. All parts of me are good, and I've accepted that. I've accepted that there's no parts of me that I have to run from. I can be that person and whoever in every room that I show up in, and I think that has been the dopest part of this process of being able to show up and just be all right with it.
I think that was good. You brought up like being in different rooms and the different spaces, and how you show up, and sometimes we put on a hat or we put on a face or whatever, but there's an element of us that just exists, that wants to be free, that wants to be, and you talk about Shay. So I would ask, like, how do you harness the power of a part of you that might not be good? How do you harness that and transition it into, the person that you want to be? Or how do you harness that energy of a past self and align it to where you're going?
Because, okay, my past self, like I said, she was very powerful, like very take control-ish, very dominating. And in that same way, I now have to take that same energy and that confidence and knowing that when I do this to your body, you're going to do this. I have to take that same energy and know that when I step into different rooms, that this is what's going to happen. Things are going to change. There's going to be a shift because I enter to the room. So taking that crown that I wore in the bedroom and taking that same crown that holds that energy and putting on my head always, I think that's the balance of everything. Did I answer your question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So just thinking about going back to your song for just a moment and the lessons of the song and being important and all of that, how do you think that song has empowered your present self as you also get ready to go to Tulsa? Or do you think the song has played a factor in any of your recent developments?
I think that the song serves as a marker for me. A marker in time to say, like, this is where you were and this is where you don't want to go back to, kind of thing, more so than playing, not necessarily playing a part like, oh, which I did. I needed that part of myself in order to be who I was, but I think it's just more than anything, it's my stamp, my marker of that was the end of this chapter. And I think even the fact of, like I said, going to the song and how I went back into reminding myself that I am enough, that was the beginning of this new chapter, I think it was. So I would say that it definitely played a big part in my story for sure.
What would you say to somebody who feels that they are kind of in that same space? They know, or they can feel the chapters coming to a close, but they don't necessarily know how to flip the page.
I would say to not be afraid of your truth. Not be afraid to dig deep and to see why you are the way that you are. Not to be, because sometimes we try to go through life and we're just kind of burying things under pages and under things or whatever, because it's like we're afraid of that. We're afraid to say that thing out loud. We're afraid to say, hey, I'm a hoe. Hey, we're afraid to say that I feel like I'm less than. We're afraid to say that, that's showing up in my life this way. But it's like, I feel like to that person, I would say, like, really dig deep, figure out why you're doing the things that you're doing, what it is, whatever that thing is, because like I said in my first episode, God was telling me that if there's something about yourself that you don't like, change it. It's literally a decision. You get to wake up and say, hey, I don't want to do that anymore. It's literally making eye contact with your future self and saying, does she do this in her life? Does he do that in his life? Like, how does his normal days, what does that look like for them? Like, to really sit and explore that, I feel like it's the benefit, because I think, like I said, just because something is covered doesn't mean that it's hidden. And if until you understand that it's not hidden. Because even though you think it's hidden, it's showing up in your everyday life. It's showing up at work. It's showing up on these phone conversations with your friendships. All those things is showing up. People can see this thing that you think you're hiding. So until you take the time to dig and say, why am I like this? I feel like it's going to follow you, and into this new chapter that you're about to go into, it's going to follow you there too. Until you decide to shed that skin, that hey, this skin, if you think about a snake's body or whatever, and that's a terrible thing to say, the example, a snake. Anyway, whatever. Think about a snake's skin and its skin coming off of its body. So say this is the snake, this is the skin that it's shedding. This skin still exists, it just doesn't fit anymore. So, but you got to get rid of that skin to be able to see the new skin. And that skin that you're looking at is that part of your testament that you have to look back and say, this was me. And because you got to also then be able to look in the future or whoever and say, look, I went through this too, because you got to be able to help somebody else get through it. And I think ultimately when it comes to even my story, a lot of the things I went through was not for me. It was because I had to live out the life that I lived so that I could be on this platform to tell y'all about some of the things. There's a lot of things that I've experienced in life that I had to go through, but I also had to figure out how those things affected me. How did they show up in my life? How did they, show their head each and every day? So I would encourage that person to dig deep because it's important.
Final two questions
Okay.
that I have. You mentioned looking at old videos and looking at your old self. And you also talked about, looking at your future self. So if you were able to have a conversation, if in looking at that video, you could have a conversation with old Shayla, what would you tell her? And then fast forwarding, if you were able right now to have a conversation with future Shayla, what would you tell her?
So past Shayla right now, I would tell her that she's enough. I would tell her that even though people dismissed you, even though people counted you out, even though people said that, they loved you and they didn't show up for you or whatever, that you're enough and you're going to be great one day. I would say that to her. To my, I guess you said my past, my future self saying something to my past. Well, I think
your present self saying something to your future.
My present self, my past self saying something to my future, I would be saying, help. Help me, girl. Help. Please help. Because I can't do it myself. Help me to figure out. There's just that. I would say help me to figure out what it is, what are my next steps. And I guess that would be me. I would tell my past self to talk to God more, to not be afraid of his voice, because I think a lot of times in my past relationships, I decided to cut him off. I cut God out of my life, and it was like I would listen to him or whatever, but as soon as I got in relationships, I was like, God, I ain't trying to hear, because he was telling me that X, Y, and Z was not the ones, but I was like, they it for me, guys. That is bae, always, forever gonna ride for them. But I would cut God out of my relationship, and that's why I dealt with some of the turmoil I went through. Like, I was in a domestic violence relationship. I was with someone who definitely did not believe in God. I was just in a lot of different random situations that I could have not found myself in had I been consulting God. So I would tell her, hey, you need to straighten up. And you need to talk to him, because that's not your only way, your only thing that you're going to be able to count on, because he's going to be able to tell you when these niggas is cheating, okay? He's going to be able to tell you all the things, which God did end up showing up that way for me. But I would just tell her to believe in God, like for real believe in him, really dig in him, for real, not to only turn to him when things are bad, but also when it's good, because that, I think, is the thing that kept me away from guys, because it's like or even kind of kept me close, because God knew that I wasn't gonna talk to him unless things were bad. So he was just allowing a whole bunch of bad stuff to happen to me, because he was like, okay, girl, well, you gonna talk to me then. So just past self, don't waste your time trying to block him out, because he gonna get his way anyway, girl. Like, he gonna do it. So that's it. But anyway, so that's the end of the episode. I thank y'all so much for watching. Thank y'all so much for believing in me. I hope that y'all take the time out once my song does release to sit and listen to it, to kind of get another part of me, to listen to past Shayla and see how she was, what she like, what it took her to get to where she's at now. I thank y'all for subscribing to me. I thank you for just believing in my gifts, believing in my talents, believing in whatever it is that I have in me that you admire. I thank y'all for taking the time to say that, hey, I'm interested. All 109 of y'all, like, y'all, first of all, y'all the truth. Like, y'all really came through for your girl. Like, let me just tell y'all, I ain't gonna insert the video because your girl look dusty, but anyway, y'all really had me in shambles. I was so appreciative of what y'all did for me. Sorry, I wasn't talking to y'all. I'm so appreciative of what y'all did for me, for how y'all showed up for me, and just really, I don't know, you just made me feel worthy. You made me feel seen. You made me feel, you know, like I was enough. Like, what I came to this platform for a reason, that God was gonna do really what he said he was gonna do. Y'all really helped to push my faith that way, because I didn't think nobody was ever going to subscribe. I didn't think anybody was ever going to show up, or just, I don't know. I just didn't think it was me. I just didn't think that I was worthy of that. But thank y'all for showing me that I'm worthy, showing me that I'm worth the time, I'm worth the effort. I thank y'all. Thank y'all in advance for all the future subscribers. Thank y'all for all the comments. Thank you for all the sharing with your friends. I believe God told me that one of these videos are going to go viral. And when it does go viral, that's when he's going to elevate where I'm at in my life, where my business of YouTube, he's going to elevate that. And I thank y'all for the people that I can look at now, the whole 109 of y'all that are on this journey with me, that you're going to actually get to witness full on a miracle. You're going to get to witness God in a different way. And that's what I believe. And we're just a couple of days away from that, from God showing and manifesting all the things that he said he was going to do. So thank y'all in advance, like I said, and I will see y'all next time. Actually, I'm gonna see y'all in Tulsa, because first of all, let me just say that, so make sure that you're subscribed, because I will be trying my best, God willing, because let me tell y'all, my devices, that's why I'm having to, all these, you'll see, but that's why I'm having to go back and forth, because my memory is feeling that thing. But God willing, I will be able to give y'all footage of everything that's happening when it's happening. So stay tuned, y'all, because it's about to get good.